Welcome to Hustle Radio, a podcast about the New York hustle mentality centered in the e-commerce industry, the official podcast of the E-Com Cooperative. Introducing your hosts, Frank Acosta and David Dayon.
What's going on, Frank? Long time no speak.
How are you, man? How's it going? I'm fired up. We just came from a long trip.
Yeah, we just got back from Boston yesterday, so that was a lot of fun. Spending 25 hours with Frank Acosta.
Good times. Good times.
Good times indeed. We have a very, very good episode planned for today. We have an amazing guest. Frank, why don't you introduce our guest?
My thing is, my bad, man. My whole setup is freezing, and I don't know why. We have an amazing guest with us. We have Brandon Young with us. Excited to have him here. Excited to have him on our podcast. This is one of those, when you travel and you're like, yo, we don't want to do the podcast, but this was a good one, so we're like, we have to do it anyways. This is one of those. So, Brandon Young, excited to have you here. Excited to learn, and our audience could definitely value what you got to bring to the table today.
What's going on, Brandon?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
All is well.
We always go live with a little bit of music just to set the vibe. So you think you're gonna like this one? It's called Frank showed it to me, and it's a great song.
Well, down here in Miami, I get lots of reggaeton, so I'm familiar.
For sure. Yeah, Miami's king for that, man. This song is probably playing all over Miami as we speak, man.
Miami. I feel at home.
Good. Speaking of which, we'll touch a little bit later, but we're going to be in Miami soon. We're traveling a lot. That's definitely the next destination for us. We'll talk about a little more towards the end. So, Brandon, real quick, before we get into it, I want to introduce you to our audience so they know what you do, what you bring to the table, and what you're dedicating yourself to.
Oh, yeah. So, basically, in two sentences, my wife and I are 8-figure Amazon sellers, and been doing it for 5 years. I started teaching it about 3 years ago, and I've taught thousands of people how to start, research, start, and grow their own Amazon business, their own private label business. Love it.
So, when did you start, Brandon?
So we started on Amazon 2015. We were doing wholesale liquidation. We were, looking for a way to just take advantage of FBA, the tools that they give you by doing all the heavy lifting for you. And then I was dating my wife at the time. We weren't even married yet, and she's from China. So I said, why aren't we doing private label? Like, we've got a huge advantage there. You can help us with sourcing, logistics, product development, all that good stuff. And so we hopped on a plane in 2016, went to Canton Fair, and launched our first few products a couple months later.
Wow. Awesome. Fascinating story.
Yeah, we really enjoyed, the traveling. We haven't been able to go back to China since, because of COVID, but we were going a few times a year visiting family. We have a big team there. We have over 25 employees, I think 28 employees now in China. And, it's just amazing to be able to travel back and forth.
For sure. Such an interesting story. So what are you dedicating yourself to today? I know that Amazon is where you started. I know you have something a little bigger than that you're working on. So Seller Systems, right? I was looking into your website recently. I see you have a lot of students, man. So I definitely want to hear a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So it started off with just a few friends and family wanting to know, hey, how are you making all this money on Amazon, right? And because we were doing really well. And so I just did like a free call with them, just basically to show them how we do the research, because I'm all about data, numbers. My background's finance, and like that's just the way I operate. Like I want to make sure that the decisions I'm making are lower risk and that I'm looking at the right angles. And we learned the hard way early on about keywords and what drives sales and all this stuff. And when we first started, they didn't have great tools, like Helium 10 and Cerebro and all these things to give you the accurate data. So we were kind of like mixing and matching different tools out there to try to find out and just make our best guess, but at least have some idea. So we were, we had Seller Labs, and we had Jungle Scout, and we had another tool, and Merchant Words, and we had all these tools we were just combining into spreadsheets and then just manipulating. And then Finally, Cerebro comes out and it does it all in one.
Yeah.
And then we were still pulling it into our own spreadsheets and still running our own calculations to try to make it more accurate and make it make sense. And so for the last few years, I just it started with like a master class, and then it grew into learning more of the entire process. So that's where the term seller systems comes from, because I feel like private label selling on Amazon is like 4 different college degrees in one. You need to know how to do data analysis and product research and keyword analysis, and you have to know how to do sourcing and product development and logistics, and then you need to know how to do marketing and on and off Amazon and optimization. And so it's so much of a learning curve for every single process that we really wanted to break it down and make it very hands-on and help people guide them. And that's the value that I've been able to give through different talks, podcasts, speaking at events. We're blessed. We have over 900 members in the inner circle without running ads. We're finally going to start running ads this month for the first time.
Wow.
And the inner circle is basically my college level course and a private mastermind of dedicated sellers. We've got over 300 7- and 8-figure sellers that are part of the mastermind. And it's very active. I do weekly calls. We help each other out. We do other classes.
As someone in the industry, everyone knows, like it's a known thing. And I think I was also reading your profile. I think it was like voted the #1 course, something like that. You want to help me remember what I read? Something
I've won. They're right behind me. I won. Danny McMillan and his Seller Sessions podcast and his group, like they run a big contest for all the sellers to vote on, and I won best private label course, and I won best consultant, Amazon private label consultant. So the next steps for us is, I'm trying to run ads, which is interesting. I'm trying to tell a story there that's really authentic, honest. Hey, we're real sellers. We really know what we're doing. We're going to guide you the real way. And it's not look at my Lambo, you can get rich overnight bullshit, like it's none of that.
Yeah.
And so for me, running ads was always like, hey, I don't want to be one of those douchebags, right? Like I need to do it in the right way. So we finally figured that out. And I released the software just recently. It just launched a couple weeks ago to automate a lot of the things that we do when we look at the data. So normally we would pull a ton of data from Helium 10, from Keepa, from Google, and then we would put it into a spreadsheet. We would run some formulas and some macros, and it would still take hours to analyze a product properly for us, right? Like the way that we really want to dig into the data to know whether it's a good opportunity, what the risk is, how the current sellers are doing, the keywords that are driving sales, like how the competitors are getting sales, all of that information. And now the software does it all in 3 minutes.
Oh, wow, crazy.
That's amazing. So, what's the software called?
It's called Data Dive. So it's right now it's exclusive to the inner circle and at an enterprise level to some of the big aggregators out there. I do private consulting for some of them, and I've opened up the software to them as well. So it's kind of just, we're keeping it close to the chest right now because it's to me it's so powerful. I don't know if I should open it up to the public. I think it would really change the landscape if it was widely used. It's that good.
Got it. Now, I saw a couple different things that we were thinking about talking about, and I specifically wanted to talk today about the private label aspect of it all. I know that there's a few different ways to sell on Amazon and a few different routes to take. And, I think I chose building a brand specifically because we happen to have a very good dynamic here with Frank, runs Creative Percent. So he's at the forefront of actually creating brands every day, creating identities. And then you have, I guess you're like kind of what your course does is kind of says, all right, once you have your identity, who you are, your mission, your product, after that happens, there's a process that you have found that works for you, that you have not only repeated for others, but now you've sort of made a recipe and said, this is the recipe that you need to follow. that if you follow, again, nothing's ever guaranteed in life. A lot of those Lamborghini commercials are, you want a car like this. I mean, that whole sentence just doesn't. What are you talking about? But when you're just saying, all right, this is the process I have mapped out that has worked for me and has worked for my family and my friends. I mean, you can't help but like see the organic, the realism in that story. You have on one opposite end of the spectrum, you got the Lamborghini guy, and then you have you. So it's very, very the whole pitch and vibe and everything is very, very different. But I wanted to talk about that. Let me bring up that brand, that little topic right there. Building a brand on Amazon. And I actually want to start out and say, like, because what I want to get to, the meat and potatoes of what I think we can pull out today is going to be anything you can give over. Obviously, if they want more, they'll have to look into the course. But I want to start with Frank, and I want to start with what do you got to do when you're building a brand? What do you got to do when you're trying to form that identity?
Yeah.
Again, not I'm not asking for give me the whole thing while I'm standing on one foot, but just try to give me the pointers and
yeah, for sure. Look, I always tell people, everybody's always the first thing when you think about branding, a lot of people's mind is the logo, right? Colors, how it's going to look. In reality, there's a pre-branding that needs to be done, which is finding, first of all, who is your target audience, who you're selling it to, what's the tone of voice of the brand that you're building, and once you have all of that set up, where you know who you're pitching this to, who you're selling it to, once you have personas that are made, then you can go and say, you know what, I'm going to design this in a way where it speaks to that type of audience. So everybody wants to skip that step, and that's why a lot of things are done wrong. And it's very important to know the strategy of the brand product before you get into any visuals. So with our clients, that's where we start. Let's start mapping that out. Once we have a clear view of what our goals are and what we want to do, then the visuals just have to complement that.
Okay. And you're saying that if you skip that step, what you're saying is it would potentially have, you don't know who your audience is.
Right.
You don't have a clearer message being given over to the customer, and then maybe Brandon will shed a little more light on why that's so important in the Amazon world. But after you do have a brand, Brandon, is there anything else that you would say is the groundwork? Step one, what's step two basically? Is it all right now? Open an Amazon account. Is there anything else that you need to, I guess, check off on that list?
Yeah. So what's interesting is that we deal with so many different sellers at different levels, and so and Frank's 100% right that if you don't have your brand identity ironed out and you don't know who you're speaking to, you're playing from behind on Amazon, because conversion rates are one of the most important metrics used for keyword ranks, and keyword ranks drive organic sales, and organic sales are how you make profit and survive on Amazon. So essentially everything we do on Amazon is about the keywords and the keyword research, which keywords drive sales, and then making sure that you rank fast and you stay ranked well for all of those keywords. So all of the marketing we're doing, all of the off Amazon and on Amazon marketing that we're doing are driven towards making sure that we're maintaining and gaining rank on our keywords. So the first step is identifying the keywords, identifying how good the sellers that are currently selling. We call the keywords the demand, right? How many keywords are there? How much search volume is there for each keyword? And then how do you aggregate that and how do you collect it? And then understanding how each keyword, an event on one keyword impacts thousands of keywords, right? So you know what type of events to be triggering and what to do. But Frank's absolutely right. If you have the wrong product with the wrong logo, wrong messaging, you're speaking to the wrong avatar, then you're going to end up in a position where your conversion rate isn't as good as your competition who got it right. And your keyword ranks are going to slide and you're going to slowly die as a brand or as a product. And I see it all the time where you have to balance between different ages of, like, we do a lot of toys. So imagine you're creating a toy for a 12 and 14-year-old, but you pitch it as a toy for a 4-year-old. You're not gonna get the right results there at all, and you're gonna end up with some disappointed parents, some bad reviews, and stuff like that. But it goes much deeper to what Frank is saying.
100%. So you're saying that you could potentially waste money on the wrong audience if you don't have your clarity on who your audience is.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is like I've got sellers of all different levels that join the inner circle. I've got 7 and 8 figure sellers, 9 figure sellers that join just to fill knowledge gaps, right? I do consulting for major aggregators and buyers of businesses and brands because they come in and they want to know how to dial in 1 or 2 things, and they don't need to move the needle much to make a lot of money, right? They've already got a brand identity. They've already done a lot of that homework that Frank is talking about. And now they just want to find more products that they can cater towards that audience that they've been developing. But then I've got people who have never started a business on Amazon that come in. And what I do is I have them work backwards. Go find a product with good opportunity and low risk, and then figure out what brand and how to do the branding to speak to the avatar that will buy that, right? Because you can get that data on Amazon. You can figure out who's buying what, and you can figure out what products are selling well, and you can find out what products are selling well while not doing a good job at selling on Amazon, right? Like ranking and doing a good job at Amazon. And that's surprising to a lot of people. You would think like the best sellers of every type of product on Amazon are good at Amazon. The reality is 99% of the sellers on Amazon are bad at it. Like they got lucky, or they just threw it up. They had some decent branding and a nice image, and it's enough to convert for now. But they're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table a lot of times that you can come in and do it better if you know how to figure out what that data is.
I agree with that. So you're saying basically, if forget about step 1 being building a brand. And I actually like what you're saying, and I totally agree with it. And it's actually going to be an adjustment now. And I'm saying I can't believe I didn't see that sooner. You're saying research, because my point of view is I meet the guy after he already has what he wants to sell. But you're kind of talking to the person. Okay, you want to be successful on Amazon. If you're starting from the beginning, before you do brand identity, before you figure out who you are, find the opportunity, find the product that makes sense to you that you can actually source, or you're saying find the opportunity and then figure out sourcing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do the research without getting a full source and samples yet, right? So what we do is I always tell my students, if they're starting from scratch, go find at least 10 to 20 products to put into a pipeline of potential products you want to do that meet your criteria. Your criteria are your risk of aversion, right? Like how much risk you want. Your capital, how much can you invest into a product? Because the products range drastically from 5,000 to 500,000, right? So how much capital do you have to start the business? Find at least 10 to 20 products and be wide about it. Don't get stuck in one niche just because it's something you're passionate about necessarily. I know a lot of people want to create a business that they're passionate about, but maybe that's a saturated niche, or maybe you don't have enough capital to compete, or it's not the best opportunity to get some cash flow to build a business that gets you some cash flow that you can move into that passion later. Right. So for me, it's all about the data. Move the emotion aside a little bit. Find the one that makes the most sense that can start making you some money and some cash flow. And what ends up happening is you're going to create a list of 10 or 15 products across 4 or 5 different categories. And you're going to end up with like, okay, these top 3 are the best. And they might be different niches, different avatars, different brands. And maybe you decide to just launch one of them for now. And maybe you end up with a second brand. Maybe you end up with a third brand. And that's okay on Amazon. You can do that. You can keep them on the same account. You can open up a new entity, new bank account, and create a new brand and do it again. And that's okay on Amazon as well. And so it becomes a really interesting thing where I don't want you to take only the things in the same niche just because it's the first opportunity that you have on your list and the 15th best. Why not do like the second, third, and fifth instead, and then because they're kind of the same and then speak to the same avatar. And so, but the cream rises to the top at that point. You start analyzing things like margin and risk and inventory turnover speed and annualized ROI and things like that we help you figure out. Again, and you end up being able to pick products that you can quickly get to market, create a brand, and start doing the heavy lifting that Frank's talking about, which is, that real branding and that real audience building.
because that will set you aside from the rest of them. Another point you said was 99% of the people who are successful on Amazon are not doing it because they figured it out. They got lucky. They timing is everything, I think, as well. I have people come to me all the time and tell me, hey, this is an item that I want to do. Look at this guy. He's selling so many of them. And I'm like, yeah, but when did he start? And did you realize that because he started then when there was less competition and he owns that market right now, if you want to go and steal that market and take some of it and shave off some of it, you will have to go buy that and pay for it. And that route might not always be as pretty as you want it to be. So I think that, definitely, I feel like what you just said is a perfect sample of what you get with your course. I feel like any Amazon seller who might, and by the way, like anybody I speak to does not have it all. They need help with something. They have knowledge gaps, like you said.
Even me, right?
Even some of the biggest aggregators. I'm not surprised to hear, with tremendous teams, hundreds of people, it's very hard to get every single thing checked off on that list. And when you have somebody who mapped it all out, there's tremendous value in that, and that's amazing. Where can people go to sign up? I think it's seller-systems, right?
Yeah, seller-systems.com. And on there, the new site hasn't launched. It launches next week. But we have a masterclass on product research. We have a masterclass on PPC. It's like 6 hours long. It dives in. We're going to be doing new masterclasses on product research and PPC coming up. And then we've got the Inner Circle, the full college level course and mastermind that comes with it, access to the software I was talking about. And that's the Inner Circle.
All right, just make sure I got that URL correct there.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so that is definitely, I believe that's a very good, anybody who listened to that should have a very good understanding of what you can help them with and how you can help them. I want to pivot over a little bit more into the hustle section of this episode. We always try to understand who our guest is and what value they bring to the table. But then we like to try to, in our own opinion and words. Hey, we got Ben here. What's going on, Ben? Ben might be responsible for us going live today. So
what's up, Ben?
Thank you very much, Ben.
Shout out to Ben.
We had Ben on an episode of the No Name podcast. So we started going live, Brandon, me and Frank. Eventually that turned into, all right, we need to have a name for this. We decided to call it the No Name podcast for lack of a name. And then basically after 20 episodes, we came upon New York Hustle Radio. And like I was just explaining, we try to have our guests come and explain who they are, their background. And then we try to pull out the hustle and try to see if there's anything that the hustlers of the world want to try to learn from. We met Brandon, you and I, we met a couple months ago. We were going to Prosper. Frank, you remember we had the opportunity to co-sponsor the Seller Systems after party, the Top Golf after party of Prosper. Actually, the night before.
It was more of a pre-party, right?
The pre-party, the launch party. And that was a lot of fun. It was actually a really, really exclusive event, and it was amazing, and we had a good time. Frank drank too much as always, and it was great. And I started to speak to Brandon, and I learned very quickly that I thought, and Frank always likes to call me out on this, I thought that I was in the office a lot. I thought I'm like one of the, people make fun of me, like, oh, you should get a bed in your office because you're there so much. But I'm gonna just take a moment to say, I don't think I even hold a torch to Brandon with his office hours. From my understanding, and it's been a lot longer than my go at the late night offices. So already. Just going into this, I knew very, very easily and very clearly that, the hustle is strong with this one. There's no hard. It's not going to be hard to figure that out. But I want to actually ask you, Brandon, is there anything that, like, I'll give you an example. We had somebody we were speaking to recently who was telling us that their secret to success is the time that they start their day. And more importantly, the time that they end their day. I think we all know this guy. But I want to ask you, is there anything that you, like a lesson, or, you have those great lessons on the wall behind you. So maybe one day we'll have a fifth tile with your face and then a nice, a little quote from you. But I'm wondering, is there anything that any wisdom you can impart? You've already dropped tons of knowledge bombs, but I'm wondering if there's anything just for the hustle aspect out there that helps you get done what you've got done. You've accomplished a lot. And I want to know if there's anything that you can give over.
So I think that there's a couple aspects to it, right? Like, I think, first of all, I firmly believe that a lot of people aren't successful because they're not willing to put in the work. And the reality is they talk a good game, but 5 o'clock rolls around, they get some food, and then they park themselves in front of their TV and they watch Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. And so putting in hours and putting in work is irreplaceable. But more important to that also is having the right objective and having the right goal. And it always brings me back to the story of the guy who it says, if you give me 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend 6 hours sharpening my axe, right? And that's the reality of it. Is I think a lot of people are too busy hacking away at the tree with that dull axe. Some people aren't even picking up the axe, first of all. And then the people that are picking up the axe think that they're busy because they're putting in hours, and they're not understanding that you have to learn. And that was really instilled in me by my wife. I mean, that's a real Chinese cultural thing. For me, I was always about putting my head down and working. And my wife was the one that from a very early on stage was just like, buy this course, buy that course, buy that course. And I'm like, oh man, that guy, I could tell that guy's full of shit. And she's like, how do you know? Maybe there's always something to be learned from everybody, she would say. And I was blown away by that, because she would find something that this guy figured out, or something that he had learned from somewhere else that now he's selling. And there's a reason he's selling his content. And it's not necessarily, maybe his success rate is 4 or 5%, like most of these fake gurus out there. But most of the people fail because they're not putting in the work. And the other people fail because, like, the rest of what he's saying is it's not a complete picture because he's not good. And that's just part of it, right? But you have to make your own picture. And that was something that we talked about a lot, which was, you know what, you're not going to learn everything from one source. And that's why when I created a course, it was more of I wanted it to be a mastermind, because I don't have every answer. As much as I put into creating the systems and looking at the data and figuring out how to look at the data to maximize your chances of success. There's still people in my group that are better than me at different things. There's still experts I bring in for calls to teach lessons, because I realize I don't know everything. And I'm very willing to admit when I don't have the right answer. And I think that's important. It's important to sharpen your axe and always be learning. And you're right. Like, we keep late hours. We have a team in China. Like, we have to, for me, it was always trying to get adjusted to that. So we start our day at noon. But I'll be here at the office till 2, 3 in the morning on a regular basis, 13, 14-hour days. We'll take an hour for dinner, an hour for lunch. But, my wife and I are still talking and strategy. We enjoy it. We love it. We sit next to each other most of the time. We talk about how we're going to move forward with, our brands business, how we're going to move forward with our coaching business software, and, our family and what we enjoy. And so it's, but when you love what you do, it's not, it's true. It's not working. Like, I enjoy the hustle. I enjoy creating new things. I enjoy working with my team. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy helping others. So, I even though it's a lot of hours, it's not as gruesome as someone might think. I would definitely be much more miserable sitting at a cubicle working for somebody else. I wouldn't be able to do that, even if it was just 8 hours a day.
So I did the cubicle job. I was miserable. I didn't know why. I thought that that's what you're supposed to do. I thought you're supposed to just go to a job and put in the 9 to 5 and be miserable. And, fast forward to today, I truly love what I do. And so I could totally relate to that. And it definitely, like, if I could do a late night, and it's work, there's no, like, I'd rather go home and enjoy and kick back and put on Netflix. I definitely got some shows I got to catch up on, but at the end of the day, you're running a business. If you don't do the work, nobody else is going to do it. Certain things just have to get done, and nobody cares as much as the the person who owns the business. And sometimes you just gotta buckle up and just get some work done. You gotta eat. You gotta take the breaks. You're lucky that you get to spend like you said, sit next to your wife, and that's amazing. And that probably probably helps. You don't have to feel like you're missing out on spending time.
Yeah, I'm so lucky there. It's really phenomenal that we have that opportunity. I know most people don't. They have families, they have things that they have to do when they go back home. And it's more so that people don't understand that, like, they hate their situation. They're miserable as well. They know they want to make a change, and but they still go home. They take care of their family for a few hours, and then they're drained. They don't have that energy to work that extra few hours before bed, right? Like, what are you doing from 9 o'clock until 1 a.m. every day? And then you can get up at 7 o'clock on 6 hours sleep and sacrifice a little bit of rest for a couple years to get a business running. And I'll tell you, I've seen it. I was a co-founder of MDS. I was one of the original members of $1 Million Sellers, a big mastermind, few hundred guys, 7 and 8 figures. And, I saw the lifestyle and the hard work being put in by those guys, and then the transition after. And I've seen people who were still already in MDS doing multiple millions of dollars in sales that had still had their 9 to 5 job at the same time. And it wasn't until they realized that going to work was costing them money that they quit. And I think that that's the perfect time to do it, right? Like, when you realize that, hey, clocking in at this other job, working for someone else is costing me money because I can make more money working in my own business. That's when you need to make that transition and get out of that, right? So, and I have out of the 900,000 students I have in the inner circle, I definitely have at least half that are still working full time. And that's what I tell them. I say, look, if you want this, it's still by far the best opportunity to create a multi-million-dollar business in a matter of 12 to 18 to 24 months. You have the capital, find the time, sacrifice, work your ass off, and this will become your full-time job. And you can just sell the business. There's so many aggregators out there giving so much money for businesses right now. It's insane. Yeah. Like, the market has changed in the last few years, last year and a half, to where it's insanity. You can bring a business from 0 to 1 while still working your full-time job and sell it for multiple millions of dollars. Like, you don't need to go full-time even. Like,
100%. And I think a lot of people need to hear this, man, because sometimes they're overthinking, right? And I always say that overthinking gets nothing done. It's all about putting in the work and showing up, man. So 100% on board with everything you just dropped.
We guys, we have our cameo guest just joined. So, Brandon, we always invite somebody that, like a friend of the guest. I think that this is only fitting. I believe that Rob originally made the introduction.
Hello, Jeff Bezos. Hold on, I got to go on. Hold on. Oh, sorry, guys. I was on a call with Jeff. He was asking for some Amazon seller advice.
Tell him we'll call him back later.
Yeah, I had to hang up on him. Sorry about that.
Was he complaining that you're reimbursing way too much?
He was trying to figure out how to launch his FBA business.
I hear it.
Hey, sorry, I can't. That's funny. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
What's going on? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Rob. What's going on?
Happy Friday.
Dave, Frank, what's up, brothers? I'm going to be in town next week.
I did not know that.
It's about time.
I will be at White Label Expo, and we're going to have a little after party. Make sure you two are there. And
how was the last White Label Expo in Vegas? Was it good?
Yeah, so it was.
Be honest,
it was pretty crowded. Oh, first of all, everybody had to wear a mask, so that was pretty cool. Everybody wore masks. It was pretty it was pretty crowded actually. From our point of view, a lot of newer sellers, but we did get a lot of people coming by the booth and signing. Of course, the money man pulls everybody in, but it was pretty fun. So I got some new bling for the money suit coming up at White Label New York. So that'll be fun. And then headed back in a couple weeks to Austin, which I just got back from, which was $1 Billion Seller Summit. Really cool thing that Kevin King did for $1 Billion Seller Summit. Everybody was required to get a COVID test at the event before you could even go in. So you had to take a rapid test. Yeah, it was really cool because there was about 120-ish people. So they did a rapid test the day before. You got a wristband. It wasn't a guarantee, but at least it felt better, right? It felt pretty safe.
It was a great event. I tell you, I've been to a couple BDSSs. I've done the virtual. Yep. I wasn't able to attend this time because it's the week of my birthday, unfortunately, and I wasn't able to defend my hack title. I had won the best hack twice in a row. And He was upset that I wasn't there to three-peat. But I think like it'll be an asterisk because it'll be like when Jordan retired for a year or two to try baseball, but he was really in trouble for gambling. Like everyone knows the truth. And then he came back and won 3 more and three-peated again. It was really 6 in a row, right? Like we can call it that. So we'll see.
All right. I guess Brandon will be there August next year is the next BDSS. I'll definitely be there. Gitita sponsoring, of course. And that'll be a lot of fun. Hey, did Brandon drop some knowledge on you guys on this tool of his?
Yeah. Well, we got a tease on the tool. We didn't. Really,
okay, good.
We got tons of knowledge though, so don't worry
Rob
about.
Had some inside information because
I got some insight.
He and his wife are in the inner circle. Like Rob's wife is starting, like really growing, and their Amazon private label business in the background as well.
Yeah. So she's been working on my old company I was with, and then actually got a little sneak peek at it when I was with Brandon about a month ago in Miami. We were playing a little Top Golf, and he busts out this tool. He's like, "Check this out!" And I'm like, and he's showing me what it's doing, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, that is something nobody's doing. It's very cutting edge, very different than any tool out there." And I was like, "Wow, that's going to be a game changer for sure." So pretty cool stuff.
Okay, awesome. So data dive you're talking about. Hopefully, when you're ready to plug it, Brandon, let us know because it's not open to the public at the moment, but
only enterprise accounts and inner circle members. That's it.
Okay, so you got to sign up. That's it.
That's really cool.
So, Rob, tell us a little bit about what's going on in Miami on November 1st.
November 1st. Oh man, I haven't actually got the official invite to it yet. From my boss, I've got the invite from you, but it looks like we're going to be having a big dinner, if I'm not mistaken. Ecom Co-op's throwing a big dinner in Miami right before the powwow, which is another get together for Amazon sellers, and it's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be a great dinner. I think you told me the location, but I forgot off the top of my head there, David.
So no, when we spoke last, we did not have our location finalized.
Gotcha.
As of this morning, we are officially locked in and loaded at Fuego, which Brandon, just to continue our conversation, it will have outdoor seating.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm figuring out how to loosen up about some of this. You know, I'm figuring out what the data is showing me with regards to, because I'm fully vaccinated. Yeah. And I think that the data keeps coming out of these hospitals that like 98% of the deaths are not vaccinated. So I'm feeling safer and safer about it and just kind of letting everyone do their own thing. And if they die of freedom, they die of freedom. Like it's up to them.
I mean, day by day, right? Everybody just has to deal with it according to what their lifestyle is, right? So.
Yeah. So I'm feeling better about it. I think that I will. I'll be there if my invite is there, then I'll be there.
It's not even a question.
I'm sure that invite's there. And here's one for you, Brandon, that was kind of interesting too. So speaking of White Label New York, of course, it's going to be required you have masks, but it's also going to be required that you show proof of vaccination, not a COVID test. You have to have proof of vaccination to get in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, because there's all this data about like once you've had it, then your natural immunity is pretty good. That you have the antibodies. So I'm on the fence about that. Like, I think that if someone can show that they previously had it or vaccinated, but that's hard to do. Like, what kind of proof do you have that you had it? Like you get a card when you get a shot, but so, you know, I'm trying, I'm very much about personal freedom and I don't like that, but at the same time, it's pretty obvious. If you don't have the virus, if you haven't had it and you don't have the vaccine, like don't want to mess around and get it. Like, but
Absolutely.
I think the white label thing is pretty interesting. I wonder how that'll impact the
Crowds.
attendance. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering the same thing actually. And kind of the funny thing is we're doing the after party the first night, invite only after party. And actually the place we're doing it at, same requirement. You have to show proof of vaccination.
I think that was not a New York thing, right? That's a regulation thing. All the restaurants are requiring proof of vaccination.
Correct. Anywhere in New York.
Even Abe had to go get it, and he was staunchly against it, I think. And he was like, he loves the food too much.
And he was like frowning.
He was frowning because he was getting the shot.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
So I got something for Brandon. So, to get back to the Amazon stuff, because that's what people really want to hear. So you were talking about at $1 Billion Seller Summit, you dropped some really good tips and stuff on the hack contest. Do you have any sort of hack you can give our audience right now, Brandon?
Give me a particular topic for private label, and I'll try to.
Let's go something with. I'll give you a couple different areas. You can kind of pick one if you have something in particular. I'll just kind of give the areas that I saw, because obviously I can't get out the information that was told at $1 Billion Seller Summit. But maybe a hack on either driving external traffic or something to do with images on the listing, or possibly even titles or descriptions, somewhere in that area.
So what's interesting is Amazon changes the algorithm frequently. The only constant on Amazon is that they change, right? So what was true a few years ago isn't always true now. And so with regards to outside traffic, I'll just give this information that when we would try to launch a product previously, if we were running Facebook ads at directly from Facebook, the ad to a detail page, to a product detail page, that the extra traffic would hurt you because it's a low converting traffic, right? So Amazon figured out that was causing us to not want to drive outside traffic to Amazon, which is what they want. They want everything pointing at Amazon at all times. So they adjusted the algorithm so that the negative is no longer there, only the positive is there. So if you're running ads on Pinterest, Google, Facebook, or any social media page or anything, and it points to your product page and you make a sale, or you have an add to cart, or any type of event, that's positive only, versus how it used to be weighted, because your click-through rate, your conversion rate are two of the biggest metrics, but that's only internally from Amazon for ranking now. But the positive impact of an event, of an add to cart or a purchase from outside Amazon, is only positive now. So that's a huge piece of information for people to understand.
So that's funny, because not funny, but that's good information. No, because I just yesterday with Augustus from Orange Click on ClickBox did a 45-minute presentation on using YouTube to promote your products and to obviously market your products. And we did get a couple questions about, you can put that clickable link in the description. And we were talking about a little bit about it. Of course, there used to be the whole thing of, do you put the search, find, buy in there? Do you use some sort of linking thing? I mean, I tell them to use Bitly. As far as how they do it, I told them that's kind of up to them, because as you said, things change, things are dynamic. But the fact is, you want that link of some sort going to your product. And then, or if you only have three, let me re-explain a little bit. If you have 3 items, let's say you're selling, and you're making a video on each item, you have it go directly to the item. If you have maybe item like, let's say it's like a matcha tea, but you're also selling a cup, for the tea, maybe on the cup, you have it go to your store on Amazon, because maybe they also already bought the cup, or they have the matcha tea, or vice versa. So there's kind of a little way you could do that.
The store. So Amazon provides you with a storefront link that gives you some kind of attribution. You can measure it, but it's not going to give you as much ranking juice as driving directly from. And if you do reroute it through Bitly or any type of shortener, and you hide the referrer that way, you're going to end up in a position where you're also stifling the bonus you're getting. So you're not going to get the same bonus from Bitly as you would, or from Pixelfy if you hide the referrer, as you would from Google, from Facebook, from Pinterest, and each of those have their own weighting value add as well. So the direct link out, which was taboo for a long time, which is what Rob was kind of alluding to, is that you would want to hide the referrer. isn't as necessary anymore. You can just link directly, and you're going to get a bonus when that converts for ranking. It's very interesting. And there's ways to give attribution. There's like some secret sauce ways to give attribution for keywords and to target certain keywords for growth as well when you do that. But yeah, outside marketing and traffic has been evolving very fast. A lot of people know that Google links are really good, but they just don't know the details as to why, how the algorithm works, how it's weighting it, what exactly how to give credit and things like that. And that's a lot of the secret sauce stuff.
Yeah, no. So it sounds like next time I give my presentation, I'm going to run it by Brandon first on the linking part. Maybe break that off a little more because I mean, what I was using it for was we got all these people that sell on Amazon. Most of them, if not all of them, have that video already made in their Amazon listing, right? They've made that video, even though it's a simple video. It's something you could take because I tell everybody, we all search on Amazon for products. But where do you go to search for a brand? If you want to know more about a brand, we all go to Google. So why would you not want to own as much as that page when somebody's searching your brand, to basically and have videos in there? And so that's why I'm kind of taking this topic and running with it. Plus, I do a lot on YouTube and stuff and have done in the past. And so I'm kind of changing it a little to help some of these sellers because when you're building it out, you're building out a brand in a whole, right? You need to sell a lot on Amazon, but almost everything you do on Amazon regarding title optimization, descriptions, keywords, PPC, all of that can be brought over to YouTube. You do the same thing. That needs an SEO title, it needs an SEO description, it needs tag words, they call them over there, which are keywords. So it's like another way of just building that out bigger because when you go sell that brand, you want to have a big kind of understanding of, hey, I'm doing great on Amazon. Maybe you're on Shopify. You got this YouTube. You got social media. You've built a whole, thing around it, a whole entire atmosphere around that brand, and which makes
definitely gives you some protection for brand building and everything. I'll give you one more tip as well as in the optimization for the keywords. We've been experiencing this where a lot of times it was, again, previously, the way Amazon's algorithm would work before is that you would never want to change your title or change your listing. They've updated the algorithm to give you credit for the way you build your listing almost instantly. It's within hours, right? So you would previously you would rewrite your title and you would get de-indexed for keywords that you took out. And you would put new keywords in there, and the algorithm wasn't reading the new title, so you wouldn't be able to get the benefit of changing it. But now, as soon as you change the title, the bullets, the back end, Amazon's algorithm's reading it a lot faster and giving you credit, and then they keep track of the credit. So the way that the ranking works for a keyword, again, is that click-through rate, conversion rate, the total revenue through it, the relevancy. By changing your title and putting the keyword in the right order in the title, you're getting the most amount of credit, right? So phrase match, exact match, broad match, all of those have different weights too. So there's a lot to that. But let's say you put the exact match in there for the keyword you want in your title. That's the most amount of credit you can possibly get. And so previously, I've got keywords that I was not putting, that I wasn't representing, that I wanted to represent. And so if you rewrite your title to re-optimize it with the new data that you can pull and that you can get, then you can prioritize the right keywords. You can move up the ranks very quickly. I just did a case study for a broad search keyword that I was missing in my listing that I noticed another competitor was ranked well for and getting a lot of sales from. And within a few hours, it was half a day, it was like 6 hours of changing my title, I was ranked number 3 for that keyword, whereas previously I was ranked 160. And I had 30 to 50% more sales per day after that, simply by adding that keyword and identifying that keyword that was driving sales for a competitor that was more of a broad keyword. And I had done such a good job with PPC and with performance of this product where it was already doing really well on highly relevant keywords, but maybe with less search volume, that I was rewarded because that extra credit was just accumulating in the background. They were tracking it the whole time, but they didn't think it was relevant because it wasn't built into my listing. So re-optimizing existing listings is super important for and can make a huge difference. And there's a lot of people that just guess when they write their listing. They're taking bad keyword data from different tools that, or they only look at one competitor and try to reverse ASIN and look at just their keywords. And what you need to know is that one guy might not be good. He might only be on 65% of all the potential search volume of keywords that drive traffic or drive sales. And so you need to look at the whole picture, create a huge master keyword list, and really try to find all the keywords that drive sales and then prioritize after that.
Wow. 30 to 50%. That's huge. That's a big increase.
On one keyword, though. That's
one keyword.
Yeah.
Just one big keyword that I was missing that was more of a generic broad keyword that I saw a competitor doing well. And I said, man, maybe I need to prioritize this.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
All
big.
right, that was definitely good stuff there. Good. More. If we didn't already have enough, that was even more now. All right. So guys, thank you so much. It was a great jam-packed episode. Rob, thank you for making the time as always.
Yeah, no problem.
I feel like it was too technical and not enough fun. We need more fun.
Yeah, well, we've already said we're going to have to do another one in the 5 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't feel guilty drinking, and Rob will have to join in the money suit. Don't worry, it's going to be a whole thing already. Round 2, we'll get Ben to cameo as well. It'll be a whole party.
Sounds fun,
guys. Thanks so much, Brandon.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you again, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Crushing it. Take care, guys.
Frank had a 11:45. He was late too, so he just jumped right out.
Yeah,
no problem.